Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, thawing off in the studio on a cold Tuesday morning. So it's crazy to think that there are actually people playing soccer right now, but there are. And the Soccer Bears had mostly good news yesterday. Is that right?
Well, the good news they already knew would be forthcoming, and that is they're going to the NCAA tournament for the fourth straight year. This is the NCAA Division I. Missouri State's a very good team. 12 wins, 1 loss, 4 draws in their competition. That was the good news. The not-so-good news was the fact that they thought that they'd be playing at home, and they will not be. Instead, the Soccer Bears go on the road 48 hours from now to play Creighton in Omaha. Now, this is the second straight year that the Bears have played Creighton in the NCAA. Creighton came down here last year for a first-round game and beat the Bears 1-0. So, when you put everything in context, a little turnaround is in store here. The Bears will go up to Omaha and kick the Blue Jays right in the beak and maybe get something out of that. Anyway, the Bears go to the NCAA tournament, as did the Lady Bears. They made their first appearance since 2017, I think it was. Last Friday, it was not a very good show. They lost to Arkansas 6-0, and that's a squashing. But over and above all that, the Bears go play Creighton Thursday night, and we wish the Soccer Bears an awful lot of good luck.
Get that dub. Get that dub. On the subject of soccer, we got any area teams in the state playoffs? That's going on too, isn't it?
The boys' playoffs are. The girls play soccer in the spring, but the boys are playing right now. And yes, soccer has 4 classes, not 6 the way they do in football, but 4. And there are no teams from the area in Class 4. In Class 3, Springfield-Glendale will play Kansas City East. And that's at 1:30 Friday afternoon in Fenton, Missouri. Fenton's up by St. Louis. They have a big soccer complex up there, and that's where the state championships will be held. Hopefully, with the new infusion of money, like $25 million into the Springfield Park system for turfing of fields, these soccer championships will be coming down here before too much longer. No teams in Class 2, but in Class 1, New Covenant Academy is playing in the semifinals, and they will challenge Summit Christian at noon on Friday, also, of course, in that Fenton soccer complex. So we wish Glendale and the kids from New Covenant Academy an awful lot of good luck. These are the soccer championships coming up this weekend.
New Covenant. Hadn't heard that before.
They've had, they're getting a lot better. They don't play football, but they do play a very high level of baseball.
I've heard that too.
And soccer.
Yeah.
It's right out here on, I don't think it's literally on Scenic, but it's
Kansas. It's in that area.
In Kansas Expressway. Yeah, it's a very good school.
Nice
and
fields too.
They have the baseball field is really nice.
Yep.
It's top notch. The soccer complex getting along. Hey, they're coming along out there.
That's good stuff. All right. You might be on the fence as to where you're going to watch it or not due to human rights issues. But the World Cup is coming up. When's that kick off?
And you're right. It is a question as to whether or not I'll watch it.
Well, that's your. I know you don't care about the human rights issues.
I do.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I very much do.
Yeah, of course.
But do I care that much about the competition on an international basis in soccer? I want to see the USA team.
That'd be nice. Get a dub.
It all opens on Sunday, November 20th in Qatar. That's where they're playing it this year. And the very first game at 1 o'clock on Sunday has the host team, Qatar, playing Ecuador. Do I care about the NFL or this?
All right, what are you going to be watching on Sunday, Mike? Well, I'll tell you right now.
Now, the USA plays next Monday, and they are playing a 1 o'clock game, and they're playing Wales, and that game will be played in the Al Rayan Stadium. That's a 3-year-old, 44,000-seat venue in Qatar. Of course, that's where the soccer is this year. So it's really interesting. Qatar is having a lot of controversy over this because of their human rights issues, but that's where the competition is being played. Next time the World Cup comes, it is split between 3 countries. You know what they are?
No clue.
Canada, Mexico, and the USA.
So it's either one of us.
Well, there will be 3 venues. 3 countries will have venues, and of course, the Midwest here is Arrowhead Stadium.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So anyway, it's interesting. The USA in this particular World Cup is playing in the same pool with England, Iran, and Wales, and England will be the next That's the next opponent, and they're very good. That's a very good team. Now, this is a pool play, so you're allowed several losses, and then the teams are eliminated after that. Then you get to the sudden death, and you're out of there after the round of 16. But we'll see if the USA even gets that far.
Be nice to see it. Sorry, I was confused here. We literally did, for the first time ever, an entire segment where we talked about nothing but soccer.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I'm gonna have to check your temperature after this.
You you don't know the teams that'll be involved. Of course, they don't know who's going to be there, and it may not even be a USA team. But the fact is that Arrowhead Stadium will be the site. Tickets will be almost impossible to get. They'll have 72,000 or whatever the capacity is to watch the World Cup up there. It is the biggest international competition in the world, and we have to bow to that. It may not be here, but it is elsewhere.
It's pretty dope, though. It's coming to Arrowhead, and I guarantee you the only time and the only place in the world where they're actually going to have tailgating at that level before a soccer game. Well, I thought as far as beyond the top 4 college football teams, because they didn't lose over the weekend, but the other part of the top 10, top 20 definitely had a reshuffle over the weekend, in my opinion. When did those bowl rankings come out?
They will come out later on today, and the top 4, as you mentioned, there will probably be, well, not probably, there won't be any change, no shakeup, and there may not be, and I say this very hedgingly because you never can tell in college football, but there may not be any shakeup this week either. Number 1, Georgia will play Kentucky this week. Number 2, Ohio State on the road to Maryland. Both of those games should be one-sided. Michigan is host to Illinois, and Illinois has been in a big slump. And TCU, here's the one that's you've got to keep your eye on. Number 4, Texas Christian. At the moment, they are number 4. They would play number 1 Georgia if the playoffs were to start today, but they don't start today. TCU has a game at Waco, Texas, against the Baylor Bears. Now, Baylor is up and down. They've had good games. They've had some really good games. They've had some bad games. They played Kansas State last week and got buried in that one. So let's watch out and see what happens. Tennessee, which is very much in the hunt, has a night game at South Carolina. And the former number 6 team, Oregon, lost last week. So they're dropping all the way, probably going to drop all the way out of the top 10. LSU will likely take their place. And LSU plays Alabama-Birmingham. Now, Alabama-Birmingham is a Division I team. I believe they're Conference USA, if I'm not mistaken, but they aren't in the ballpark with LSU. So we should see maybe a little bit of a shakeup next week, but it all remains to be seen what happens.
Pretty crazy stuff, but as a K-State fan, I've been pretty happy with the season we've had. So, like I always say, I like the Wildcats. We get a good bowl every probably 3 or 4 years, and I think
get a good bowl this year.
This year's going to be that year for us, I think. So, good stuff. Some good news for the Chiefs on the defensive side of the ball. Got some guys coming back this week. Is that right?
They do indeed. Frank Clark's 2-game suspension is over. The suspension has been lifted by the commissioner, so Clark will be back in there, and that certainly does help the defense. The Chiefs had put in a bid for free agent Jerry Tillery, who was cut loose by the Los Angeles Chargers last week. And that's a bit of a surprise because Tillery's a pretty good defensive player. But you make your choices. They go from last place to first. It's kind of the way they do it in baseball, too, with free agency. And by free agency, I'm talking about the players who are immediately free agents who don't have any kind of concept at all. They go from the last place, first place, get the initial pick. Well, in this case, the Las Vegas Raiders got the pick, and they picked up Jerry Tillery, so the Chiefs are out of the running on that one. However, they do get Frank Clark back, and I'm not sure the Chiefs need any further help on their defense anyway. Juju Smith-Schuster, still questionable. That he's been put in concussion protocol that usually lasts for, at the very least, 1 game. But we'll see. He took a wicked blow in that game against the last week in the contest that they played against the...
he had that pose, too. I can't remember what they call it whenever they get you knocked out and your hands come up and they walk like that.
There's the key right there because the physician saw that happen, and that is the symptom of a deep concussion. So I would suspect that he will miss this week's game against the Chargers on Sunday night.
Definitely going to have to go through the protocol, but you know what? Kadarius stepped up big time Sunday, so it should be okay. But you know what I was going to say is, Frank Clark being gone did suck, but at the same time, Carlos Dunlap stepped up. They had a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball who have stepped up. Karlaftis is starting to kind of come into his own as a rookie, I think. They look really good. Now, again, it was against Jacksonville, but it's. I feel like it's a lot easier for me to see how the defense is working live and in person, and I thought I saw some really good things on Sunday, but again, against Jacksonville. So last night, I know you came in here, head was kind of downtrodden, but the green and white finally got a loss.
And they're celebrating in Miami. They've popped open the champagne bottles. Miami's still the only undefeated team ever in the NFL. So it won't happen this year. Philadelphia did go down 32-21, did not deserve to win the game. Got off to a great start and then kind of muddled through their contest. Washington's not all that bad a team. Of course, this is pro football, and anything can happen. But in Philadelphia's case, they didn't get the breaks. They didn't make their own breaks, and Washington did. And the bottom line is the Commanders got the win, 32-21. Never know how that first loss is going to affect any team that's been the number one all season long. May have a negative effect, and it could have a positive effect. You just do not know. But these are pro athletes. All those teams will be back playing, and they've got a long way still to go.
Yeah, 2 losses, 0 losses, 5 losses. At the end of the day, it's who's standing on top of that mountain with the ring in their hand, Ned. You stay warm today, and I'll see you tomorrow.